Alright guys, welcome to part 10 of X-Men. Rebuild, repair, restore, whatever you'd like to call it. If you're new to the channel, could you take a second and hit that subscribe button real quick? I'd really appreciate it and you'd be helping out this channel. Alright, so now, if you've been following the series here, you know that there's absolutely zero wiring in this cabinet. So, what I have done here is I've taken the main power switch here. Let's see if we can get this explained. Hang on a second, guys. Alright, what we got going on here is I got a black wire coming up and a white wire coming up to the switch. They're soldered on and heat shrinked. On the back side of the switch, I got a power running to this marquee light wire. I got a common running to this marquee light wire. And I got another hot wire headed back down this wiring to power everything once it's turned on. I hope that makes sense. It does to me. But anyways, I'm going to be installing these speakers. I'm going to be installing the switch. I'm going to be installing the back door and begin the main power wiring for everything. Let's see. Up there, I think I got some EMI filters. I got some 9-pin Molex connectors that I can use to hook into the main power supply. I got some PCB feet. I got some fuse holders that I can put into the main power in case something happens. I got all kinds of good stuff, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and just start putting stuff together, and I'll make some little snippets here and there. So I hope you're still with me. I know I ramble on a lot, but I never really know what I'm gonna say. Alright, fellers. So I got the speakers installed now. I just put 2 screws in them because that's the only holes that were ever there. And they ain't going anywhere. Nor is anything rattling around. So I'm going to have to put me a zip tie here to tie up that extra. Then I have my brown and red leads that will go over to the wall and down towards the JAMA connector. So now I am going to... What am I going to do now? I don't know what I'm going to do next. So this one's going to be wild ride, guys. Okay, guys, so I got the switch into the plate. I'm going to mount the plate up in its hole. And then I think I'm going to mount the marquee light. And then while this thing's down here on its side, I am going to put the T-molding in. Alright, guys. Not sure where I was at. Got the speakers in. Got the marquee light in. I need to do some wire tying. And I think I'm going to go ahead and do the dreaded T-mold. That's not really dreaded. I just hate that spot right there with all the little cuts and slits and V's you got to cut in everything. So I'll get this side of T-molding on, then I'm going to tilt the cabinet upright. Then I'm just going to start the AC wiring, basically to the EMI filter, through a fuse, up to this switch. That'll let me make sure my marquee light works. And then before I get too much stuff in this cabinet, I think I'm going to flip it over to this side's up and put T-molding on, so we can then tip it back up and begin the DC wiring part, or the feeding the AC into the DC power supply. How about that? See that red light? First signs of life. It's coming back to life, boys. I'll get down in here and show my little wiring get up. When my knees quit hurting. Alright, I got my AC wire running through the back of the cabinet. Alright. I'm probably pretty close to the microphone, so if you hear me breathing and shit, don't get too pissed off. Anyways, I come in through the back of that plate. I have the wire looped through there for like a stress point type thing. I got tired of tying a knot in the cord. Comes out. So black is your line, green is your field ground, and white is your common and or ground, in my opinion. So this EMI filter here, the blue wire is common, the yellow wire is field ground, and the brown wire is your line wire. So you can see my white wire goes into the blue one, and then it's got another white wire coming out of it, which goes up to the switch to feed the marquee light. It's common because it needs it to run. And then my field ground is tied into the field ground for this EMI filter. If you touch this wire with a continuity tester on a meter, and you touch the outside casing, it's connected. So what I did is just used a green wire here, soldered an eyelet on it, heat shrinked it, ran it into this 3-pin Molex along with the power, ground, and common. Now the power goes towards the side that has the point, ground goes in the center, common goes on the outside, opposite side of the point. Or the flat side, I guess you could call it. You can see my line wire goes directly into a fuse and goes into another black wire, which goes up to the switch. And when the switch is turned on, it feeds the marquee light, just like the common wire does. But as you saw earlier, on that side of the switch, I also have another black wire which comes back down. It's right there, feeds into the brown wire of the EMI filter and goes through the filter into this 3 Molex plug and ends up into the power supply. Now, I'm going to be running a 7400. So I'm going to take this AC line out of the power supply. And you can see I have black, black, white. And it should be black, green, white, but I don't have any more green wire. I had enough black wire, so it's actually starting over here to the left is your line power wire, then your field ground, then your white is your common. Now I know that might make it confusing for somebody else working on this, because that wire, I would have liked it to be green, but I just don't have it, and I'm not going to cut up another extension cord to get the wiring. And that's where I get this wiring from. I just go buy a 25-foot extension cord, but the one I happened to grab is just a 2-wire and I didn't notice it. So that's why I really don't have any green wire. But anyways, to be sure, I probed the center and the center and made sure I had continuity. Same thing with the line wire. I made sure that they were pinned properly and made continuity, that was the wire where it was supposed to be. And the same thing with the white one. So this is the 7400 plug for power. So it has its power, ground, and neutral properly pinned. It's just the wire colors aren't right. My bad. So that'll power the monitor. This here is the DC outputs out of this power supply here. Now, I am going to mount the PCB board in here on the wall, but I'm not going to get to any wiring right now because I like to go through the JAMA harness and split everything up and wire tie it all together into groups. Makes it easier for me to do what I gotta do. And also, off the second plug here, I will pin a ground and a 12 volt, and I will send it along the floor and over and up the middle between the coin doors so I can power my coin door lights off of 12 volts off of this power supply instead of the 5 volts like it always seems to be on other cabinets I work on. So guys, that's where I'm at. Let me get off my knees. I apologize for all the grunting. I'm a fat guy on my knees. So here's my speaker wires. It'll come off the JAMA and up the wall, and I'll just I think I have a 2-pin Molex I can make for that, or I'll just solder them together. So anyways, I'm gonna tilt this cabinet over and put this side of the T-molding on, and the T-molding up here. Earlier I painted the brace that goes through here, so I may put the T-molding on, clean up the marquee glass, and put the new marquee film in there, and close this up because I don't need to be in here anymore. I might do that. T-molding, marquee, mounting the PCB. That's probably what you'll see on the next clip, guys. Alright guys, that's pretty close to what it looks like to my eye. So anyways, PCB is in. Well, it's in. I still gotta sort through the JAMA harness. So I gotta route wires up into the coin switches for control panel, the power supply, the sound. So I like to separate all that stuff and have it all grouped together. Makes cleaner wiring, I think. Or should I say, cable management, as my son would say. You know what, guys? I think I'm going to throw the monitor in here. Well, not throw it in, but, I'm going to set it in there. Wish me luck I don't scratch any of my paint. I was just sitting here looking at him like, you know what? Monitor might look pretty good in there. And then I was like, water tonight. Yeah. Said water tonight. Alright guys, so I had the monitor in here. I'm not sure what video I've recorded or not. So I had the monitor in here. the monitor was back too far. It wasn't filling the bezel all the way. So I've taken it out now to remove some of my previous shims. I had it centered from left to right. As you can see, that marked a hole. So it was actually sitting in here pretty square on these braces I made. But you can see where the rails scarred this wood coming through. So I think I could have, like, you know, left this fattened out a little bit. Also, the monitor needed to go up or come down. I can't remember. But anyways, I'm just trying to get the bezel to fit correctly, and then I'll worry about shimming the tube up and down, whatever I got to do with that. So, wish me luck on that. Alright guys, so the monitor bezel is fitting nice to the glass all the way around right now. So my measurements were pretty on. But my problem is now is, see that black strip? And you don't see one here. If you raise the bezel just a pinch, you can see it. I really would like to just be able to see both of those. I need to drop the tube by about that much. So what is that? 1/8 of an inch. I'm gonna use my flashlight here and see if I can relief cut some notch a little bit more deep, right where those things go, those braces, and see if I can get this to drop down just a little bit more. I mean, it's not bad and it's livable. It's just, I don't like it. It's not right to me. Okay, so you can see how I have an 1/8 of an inch shim underneath this plastic bezel. And you can see, you just see the black line. And you can see, well, it was there. Makes me look like a liar. Maybe it's a little bit more than an 1/8. There you can see it. There you can see it. See that little mark? So it's just a hair over an 1/8 of an inch. And I'm not sure I can drop this monitor anymore, so maybe I'll figure out a way to lift the bezel that far. Because this under here would still be covered by the control panel, guys. So I'm going to see what I can conjure up here. Alright, I'm going to try to get a shot up in here, so you can see what I'm talking about. So you can see my relief cut, right? It left enough room for this rail right here to slide in. And it's sitting on those rails right now. Got that much room, that monitor can come down. So I'm going to pull this monitor out. And I'm going to go get my router with the flush trim bit. And I'm going to notch out that little bit of area so those rails can drop down into that wood a little bit more. And then I'll be able to position the tube anywhere I want it then. I may measure and just notch them down about a hair over an 1/8 of an inch, and then it should just sit right where I want it to be. We'll find out, guys. You know, all the times I'd go into arcades and play these games. I never got to see them from behind like this. And, you know, I'm kind of down here on the floor and looking through here, and man, This would have made a cool fort.
Make a seat.
Alright guys, so I got this about as even as I can possibly get. Left to right and up and down. So, yeah, I'm just going to make the final holes now to mount the monitor frame and monitor into the cabinet solid. So I'll be working on that, and I don't know what I'll be moving on to next. So I'm gonna have to sweep up some wood dust out of the bottom. No big deal. And I think I'm gonna start braiding the JAMA harness. Alright guys, so here on my computer I got the X-Men 4-player wiring harness. You got grounds, 5 volts, -5 is not used, so I'm gonna unpin them and pull them wires out of this harness, along with every other empty spot and non-used wire that's in this JAMA harness. I'm gonna pull out. You might ask me why, and I'm gonna say because I'm not gonna use them and I don't need them in my way mucking things up. So I do take them out, try to make it basically read just like this. So the JAMA harnesses I get don't come keyed, so I'm going to go ahead and get one of my keys and key it so it can't be plugged in backwards.
Do you think we can go home soon, Doctor?
Alright guys,
Just to keep an eye.
so I got my Hellraiser JAMA harness here. I'm gonna go plug it onto the board and start seeing where I need to route wires. Note to everyone, when you're leaning in the back of one of these cabinets, kneeled on the floor, if you have the monitor out, leave it out. Alright, let's take a look what we're doing in here. Alright guys, so I have 4 red wires, which are the 5-volt wires. On one plug I only have 3, so one is doubled and the other 2 are single. I have one 12-volt wire. Let's see. "12-volt is the yellow wire. So the yellow pin needs to go to the blue wires. So I only have one yellow. So the 12-volt will be doubled into a pin. And we have 1, 2, 3 grounds. And 2, 4, 6. So all the grounds will be doubled. So beware when you are making a plug and you have this, don't match color for color, because you can see that blue, if I'd put my blue on this blue, it would be -12 volts. So I have to make sure that I'm pinning it correctly as I'm putting my pins together, or just don't match colors. Always double check and make sure that you're getting stuff in the right order. Okay, so I got all the ends on. What I do is I softly line this up. And you can see the yellow is the bottom row, middle. So the yellow on this plug is 12-volt plus. The blue wires on this side is 12-volt plus. So my whole middle row is grounds, and my whole top row is 5 volts. So I'm just going to go ahead and plug them in accordingly, and then PCB will be wired with power. Alright guys, so I got RGB ground and sync wires with the right pins on them. I got a little 10 pin Molex connector there that I'm going to plug them into. So it'll be RG. Jesus. I swear. So it'll be start down here, it'll be RGB ground, and all the way up here on pin 10 will be the sync wire. I have the video and the sound cable running up through here. Sound cable hooks up here. Here's my power wire for my monitor. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in the Molex connector. I am going to plug this machine in. I am going to turn on the power. I am going to test to make sure I got exactly 5 volts there. I'm going to shut the machine off. I am going to plug in PCB. I am going to plug in the monitor. And then I'm going to come back on, and this thing's either going to run or something's not going to work, or it's going to run. Alright guys, I got the machine plugged in. Like I said, the monitor's unplugged, the PCB's unplugged, so I'm going to go ahead and just turn this on. The only thing that's really going to be powered is the power supply and the marquee light. Alright, let me get down here on my knee pillows and stuff, and I'll come back on and we'll test the voltages. Make sure they're correct. Alright guys. So I'm going to put my ground in the ground. And what the hell is it? Now I can see. Oh shit. Meter's in the way. Alright, I'm just going to leave that there for right now. I mean, I may have to turn it up once the board starts drawing power. So, I'm going to go ahead and test my There's my yellow wires, 12 volts. Or 10. Alright, so I'm going to get this up here a little bit closer to 5. Might have hit the knob. So there's my voltage, 5 volts, a little bit over. So now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to turn the machine back off. And I'm going to plug in the monitor. I'm going to plug in the PCB. And we're going to fire it up and see what happens. Okay, first I'm going to test this monitor power. So this first one is, be patient here guys, I'm kind of in a fucking hole. There's that. And that. 120.9 volts. That's testing the line wire and the common. And then I'll just touch the earth ground. It's still your ground. Alright. Plug all this shit in. Alright guys. Monitor's hooked up. Circuit board's hooked up. I have the remote board right here. As far as I know, nothing's been touched since I tested this monitor on the table in the first episode. But, you know, I have kids. Well, if I did my homework right, should work. 3, 2, 1. I heard something on the speaker. Uh-oh. So is that horizontal hold really bad? I don't hear any volume either. Okay. So it's not totally blown up or anything. Okay guys, so I'm going to get my tiny little screwdriver. I don't have any way to really set you up, so I'm going to try to find me some sort of mirror. I'm going to try to mess with the horizontal hold. Maybe. Or figure out what it is anyways. I'll be back.
X-Men.
I sure hope there's a volume control on this somewhere. Alright guys, this is what's going on with this. Got the bezel in, monitor's looking pretty good. I may do some color adjustment yet. I know it looks like shit in here, but if that's supposed to be white, it's not quite white. It's a little bit blue and red, magenta color. Like down in here I can see it, so you know, maybe it might need some green, I don't know. I could get the back door on. Wait until you see how dusty it is. Really, the whole cabinet's not been wiped down yet. So the back door is extremely bad. But now that I got all the painted stuff on, I'll basically spray it down with some Pledge and wipe it down. The paint, the side art, all of it. I like the way it. I just like using it. Right now I'm going to be cleaning the glass. I'm going to install the glass, and then I'll come on, we'll take a look at it, and I'll explain what the next video is going to entail. Okay guys, so got the glass on. Basically I have the auxiliary wiring harness that goes on these two plugs right here. So what's going to happen with that is they do have a coin wire on them, so well, I got the coin wires here. They'll make it into this harness and travel with it. I'm also going to add the 12 volt positive and the negative from the power supply. That's going to follow the power over to the corner and then up, and then it's going to join also into that coin door harness. And then these are separated, but they'll also get tied together along with the leads for players 3 and 4. It'll come up through here into the control box, and then go to the respective buttons and stuff like that. So that'll be sort of in the next video, along with like a showcase of this after it's all cleaned up and everything's the way I want it to be. And the coin doors will obviously be on that video. They didn't have coin boxes, but I do have some extra coin boxes that I'm going to clean up to put in here. Because, this is going to have to be coined up all the time to play. So, Dog P or P Dog, whoever you are on Clav. I know you said you weren't going to do a X-Men because you don't have one, but man, I really wish you would. But anyways, this is going to be the end of this video, guys. I don't know how much stuff I have. Like, subscribe, share. Share to anyone you think might enjoy it. Try to grow some members here. Channel members or whatever. Channel subscribers. Alright, thanks a lot, everyone. And hope you made it this far.